Hi everyone, it's Kamon Reynolds. Hopefully I can do half as good as Laurel does. I seriously doubt it, but hey, I want to do my best. And we are in a honey production yard adding some supers. As you can see, there's a few colonies, especially towards the left, that have some straps on them. We brought some colonies in. And this, for established yards like this one, to get 100% of the colonies to honey production size is not always possible. Last fall was pretty rough, and to be honest, I could have done a little bit better with my bees, and so there was some in here that needed to be hauled out and taken back home to be nursed and to other bee yards because they just weren't going to make honey production this year. And some of them were close, and we brought in bees from other yards because this is a really good location. That's why it's we've got so many hives here. And there are several nukes. There's about 5 behind me. There's some over in front of me right here. But I want to show you a tip really quick. And I know some of you are going to ask, so I want to address this as well. Kamon, why do you still have buckets on? I haven't used those since last year. I just have left them here in the yard because I hate picking them up and taking them back out. That's one of the things about buckets. Let's just get a little bit closer over here, shall we? As you can see, I have stuff all over the place. I really need to clean this yard up a little bit. But look at those bees working right there. It's go time, baby. It's awesome. Man, that's a lot of bees. And you can just tell by the way they're flying in. They're kind of slowly gliding in. It's hot today. It's probably about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And if there was nothing to do, there'd be bearding on these colonies, but they're so busy working, there's no bearding going on. And let's just get over here in front of these girls. Busy as a bee. All right, so now for the tip of the day. All right, tip of the day. I need to split you. I forgot I was in the middle of that. And there's a frame of honey right there, if you like that golden goodness. It's like a kid in a candy store. All right, so here's a box of supers. Laurel, help! It's a box of frames. It's a super. And the reason they call them supers is because when you fill it full of honey, it is super. Actually, I don't know 100% of the reason why they're called supers. Maybe somebody can give me that answer. I probably could look it up. All right, as you can see, I have some scrapings over here. There's a little bit much. We got them in single brood management. And this is a colony that we brought. It's in really good shape. And it's ready for this honey flow. But as you can see, I have 2 new frames right here. These are foundations. These are combs. So I'm going to throw another box on because they definitely need it. That deep is probably about 3/4 full. I should have had this super on already. I'm running behind, so let me throw this other super on one-handed. Sorry about the screen. Oh, Laurel. All right. Sorry, bees. That was a little rough, wasn't it? Wow, you guys that don't have someone like Laurel to hold your camera, I really am starting to understand. All right. Wow. Whew, it is hot. So, now what do? The reason I'm doing this is because if we use hundreds of supers, which we do, and we can get each one to get 2 foundations drawn in each one, if we do 400 supers of honey and 2 apiece, that's 800 new foundations. Completely drawn out, and that's really great. Now, so what I'm going to do is space this out a certain way. Maybe this isn't the best way, but it seems to work really good for me, so it is so hot here that my phone overheated, so now it's had a chance to cool. I'm throwing the second super on, and I've spaced it to 9. Now this might not be the best way to do it, but it's the way I do it. I've got this 9 frame spacer right here, but we're not going to be done with just spacing it at 9. So since these are foundations, they really need to be touching. So we're going to take those and put those together. Now, I think this is important too. Keep in mind, you can have 8 frames in a honey super. Some beekeepers do this. I've done it before, and you get really fat combs, but I prefer 9. 9's my favorite. 10's too thin. bees can widen out honeycombs quite a bit, and the wider they are, the easier it is to uncap. So what I want next to those foundations is a good comb. So this one was, as you can see, cut by the Kamon uncapper that we have, or the Silver Queen, and this is pretty even. Those are nice looking cells, and I want to go all the way up against the frame or really close to it. Sorry about the video quality again. And I want the same thing on this other side. I want a really nice comb. So if I have those, honestly, I like to go just a little bit off, completely up against it. That's just my personal preference. Because they're drawn. If that was foundations, you'd never do that. Now, you're like, Kamon, okay, well now it's not even on these. Remember, we can do 8 frames in a 10 frame box we want to. So it'll be fine. They'll fatten out these combs on the edge a little bit more where we brought these in, but if I can get 2 per box, that's going to help me out tremendously on getting more supers. And you never can have too many combs. I mean, it's great to have, and also I think it helps the bees with swarming a little bit, putting that wax to good use and not just letting it hit the bottom board. I wanted to go ahead and address a couple other things while we're here. So I get asked this a lot: do you under super or over super? So I typically put my supers on top. If I'm going down into the brood nest and I've already got the supers off, then we do under super. That means we would take the combs that were in the picture, and the ones that are empty will go on top of the excluder, and the ones that are filled or partially filled will go up on top. I also wanted to talk about drawing a whole box of foundation. You can do that, but bees, by the time they devote themselves to drawing foundations, they've already plugged the brood nest. That's why it's so difficult for new beekeepers to be able to prevent swarming, is because if you have nothing but foundations, if the strong flow comes in, they just bring it in fast, and by the time they devote themselves to those foundations, they've already plugged the brood nest up. Never put foundations on top of an excluder unless you have some combs mixed with it, or they will not go into that super correctly through the excluder. If there's combs above an excluder, it's a totally different ball game. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.